All right, let's deepen our understanding of quadratic equations and how to get values that we're being asked to find. So we've got x values and y values in a quadratic. The reason this is a quadratic is because the highest exponent you're seeing is a 2. That is a quadratic function. So when we have a quadratic function, we're going to have that parabola when we graph it out. So I'm just going to draw a quick picture of what this could look like. It's probably going to end up looking a little something like this. Okay, so you have a parabola graphed out, which means you've got x values as well as y values. You plug a certain x in, a certain y comes out. So again, if I were to plug in a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, these are all x values. And when I put a 4 in, out's going to come some number up here for y, so it looks like it'll be larger than 0 in this case, because this is about where this parabola would end up. Okay, so how do we determine exactly where those points go on a graph? Or how do I complete a table of values, x and y, if I'm being asked to do so? Well, one of the things that students are always determining is the y-intercept. Y-intercept is super easy to determine because if you know ax squared plus bx plus c, which is just the standard form of writing out a quadratic equation, we can just steal the c value and use that as our y-intercept. So I'm going to put a 3 down, and whenever we're talking about a y-intercept, remember we're talking about when we cross this line, the y-axis. Well, what's our number for x when I'm on the y-axis? It's not 5, it's not 4, it's not 3, it's not 2, it's not 1, it is at 0. So we know that 0 for x will always produce a 3 for y in this function. How do I know that? Because think about it. If I put a 0 here and a 0 here, what's going to happen to this term and this term? They're going to zero out. 2 times 0 squared minus 4 times 0. What's 0 squared? 0. Times 2 makes 0. Negative 4 times 0 is just 0. So both of those terms just essentially disappear, and you're left with y equals 3. Okay, now if you're being asked to find other values other than the 0, which we call the y-intercept, I'm just going to mark that so you guys can start maybe taking notes on your end. This is the y-intercept of our quadratic. It would be right there, 0, 3, meaning this dot would be 3 spaces up. Okay, now let's say you're being asked to find a couple more points. You got to solve for y. Solve for y. You need to be given an x, right? So if you're solving for y, what are you plugging in for x to get that value for y? So I could give you random numbers like 6 and 9 and 12 and 15, or I could just go in order 1, 2, 3. So if you're being asked to fill this table out, all we're doing here is replacing x values with these x values, working it out so that it spits out an output for y values. So let's just do 1 right now. 2 times 1 squared minus 4 times 1 plus 3. Again, I'm just taking that value for x and putting it where the x's are. Then I'm simplifying all this out. 1 squared is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4 plus 3. 2 minus 4 is negative 2 plus 3 gives me 1. So when I put a 1 in, I got a 1 coming out. So 1 over, 1 up. Yep, that dot would be lower than this dot. Things are looking good. So I'm going to say 1, 1. Now let's just replace those 1s here and here with 2s. A lot of times students will go back and they'll start all the way up at the top. I like to just erase and replace, right? So this is going to change. That number is going to change. That number is going to change. The 3 will always stay the same. So I'm just setting my work up for the next one. Now we're plugging 2 in. 2 goes in the parentheses here. 2 goes in the parentheses here. 2 squared. 2 times 2 makes 4. 4 times 2 makes 8. Write it down. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. 8 minus 8 is 0. Plus 3 more gives me 3. So when I put a 2 in, 8 minus 8 made 0. 0 plus 3 made 3. So when 2 was my x value, my y value came out to 3. 2 over, 3 up. By golly, look at that. It looks like we're making the parabola I had drawn out. Okay, and last but not least, plug a 3 in. We'll finish this one out by just replacing the numbers in the parentheses with the 3 now. So 3 squared makes 9. 9 times 2 is 18. Negative 4 times 3, remember x's both have to change to 3's. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. Plus 3, 18 minus 12 is 6. 6 plus 3 gives me 9. Y is 9 when x was 3. Y is 9 when x was 3. Okay, hopefully by watching this video, you have a better understanding of how you can get a y value by plugging in specific x values. Just like any of your linear functions, you would plug an x value in, out would come a y value. The only difference there is they would rise at a constant rate or drop at a constant rate. These are going to increase every other. So we're gonna have a little bit of growth, a little bit more growth, a little bit more growth, and then it's going to start to rise very rapidly. Those are called parabolas. That's that U shape. You can also see a parabola drawn like that. That is an upside down parabola. That will occur when something special happens here. Okay, that's a whole nother video though. You can tune into any of those other videos to learn about that. Last thing, if you ever want to know what the y-intercept is and not have to do any work plugging 0 in, you can just steal the y-intercept. It is always going to be the c value. So if I gave you y equals 8x squared minus 5x plus 4, and I said, what is the y-intercept of this quadratic? You could just say it is 4. And you'd have it just there like that without having to do any work or any extra steps. Hopefully this makes sense. Study hard and good luck on your upcoming test.